Welcome, readers, to another episode of the Bougie Book Pod. I'm Tara.
And I'm Kira.
And we like to yap about books. And so here we are again for another session of yapping. Today's a little bit different, but it's funny because last night I was reading to my son Dean, and we're reading this book called The Story of Us by Yuval Harari. Have you ever heard of the book Sapiens?
Yes.
He wrote Sapiens, which is a nonfiction text, which I loved. It was really, really fascinating. But he did like a kid's version of it to like explain like how we came to be and everything. And the part that we were reading last night, he was talking about like what makes humans so magical in a way or important is our ability to tell stories and how we all love stories and we will believe in stories. And it just got me thinking like, I mean, this is why we do this and we love it and we can't get enough of it. And I just wish more people felt the same way about stories, especially as an English teacher. You know, it's just like stories are everywhere. It's not just the books that we read, it's the shows that we watch, the games that we play. And so
it does feel like we're in a positive trend, though.
I think so.
Like, and I don't know if it's because social media filters to what I like.
True.
But it feels very like bookstores are the place to be, like people, you know, the community online. So I'm hoping it's going in the right direction.
I think more people, maybe there's just things going on in the world that we want to escape, but I think more people just want to be home and cozy and they're enjoying their stories and
and with Kindles just making it so easy for people to have.
Like when I can't wait to go to the bookstore, I'm like, oh, I'll just download it now, and that's what we have. And so I was just thinking about that because today we're doing a different episode where we're talking about all the theories and different ideas about the ACOTAR series. And it just got me thinking because it's fun where we could be totally wrong about our theories and our ideas about what's going on in the book or what may come, but we're all enjoying speculating.
Part of me, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this was the most excited.
Yeah.
Because it's like these could be so, and like, you know, I've gathered some from TikToks. They're not like my theories, but like these could be so left field, and Sarah J. Maas or however you say her name could be like, you guys are so ridiculous, but it's just fun to talk about.
Yeah, it has been fun having that take over my social media feed where all my posts are theories, making fun of Sarah J. Maas, making fun of the characters and stuff. And then some people going off. Like there was one person today and they were like, don't come at me, but Nesta's a bitch. And I was like, you know, and it was just things like that. But it's fun. So that's what we're all going to talk about today is just the theories from just the ACOTAR series, because
we're not going to cross link.
Yeah, we're not going to cross because I'm not there yet. Although I have a feeling there is a lot of cross pollination happening.
Yes,
and which begs me to question: do you think it's some like? I mean, I think they're all different realms, right? Different worlds completely. But I wonder if at some point there will be some sort of like cross.
So there is overlap. I haven't read Crescent City series, but I know for a fact there is overlap in there.
Oh, that's exciting.
It's interesting because ACOTAR is the one that always overlaps. So if I am correct, which like I said, I haven't read it, so don't come at me. ACOTAR, I believe there's a character or a couple characters or something that happens that overlaps in Crescent City.
Okay.
And then in Throne of Glass, the overlap isn't massive. You have to really catch it. It's just like this moment, one of the characters is like basically, you can think of it like traveling through realms, like this weird thing happens. It's hard to picture. And this character sees people in a scene that represent like the Night Court. And then sees what's supposed to be Feyre, Rhys, and Nyx.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's not massive in Throne of Glass, but they throw a little glimpse of like.
Want to know what her office or her house looks like? Like, does she have a huge map on her wall with like, this is what, do you know what I mean? Like, has she planned it all out? Is it just, does she know exactly where she's going? Or is this just like all coming to her? I'd be so fascinated to just like sit in her house and be a fly on the wall and watch.
And ACOTAR itself is like complicated, but the thought process and what she must have gone through to make Throne of Glass is just, I cannot comprehend it. I don't know.
I am reading Iron Flame right now, but I have Throne of Glass on my Kindle at the moment. It's a journey. And it is singing to me. I want to start, but I want to finish this first.
Yeah.
So, but I can't wait to get
It's hard to like dip into multiple fantasy worlds. I have to do like one fantasy world.
Exactly. I'm like, I've got to finish this first before I get into that, because I know it's a long journey ahead.
Yeah. So other than that, we will keep it to just ACOTAR. So did you want to start with the chunks you have, starting with the sisters themselves?
Sure. We'll just go by like I guess category of people.
And then I'll end on just like the random TikTok ones maybe we didn't cover.
Okay. So I started with the Archeron. Is that how we say their last name?
That's how I say it.
You know what? At this point, however we say it is just how we say it, and I'm really sorry if it's wrong.
Can't change after a while.
I know, it's embedded in my brain. So the Archeron sisters. I just wrote down that it seems like this family was always destined for big things, or at least these three girls. And I think it all goes back to the very first book and how Feyre painted on the draw. Sorry, I say draw.
Yeah.
You know, she clearly was always meant to be in the night court. Like Nesta was always meant for this fiery power that she has, and then Elaine with her flowers. We don't know what it is that she's going to be yet, but people are saying perhaps she belongs in Spring Court.
A lot of people, flowers. The drawers throw everyone off because Feyre so clearly represents the night court.
Yeah, and they're like, what are?
But like Nesta's, it's like, okay, is she like the firecracker?
Yeah.
But then people want to say like they have to represent the court they belong. Like, there's got to be a similarity. So the drawers really throw people off because, like, obviously Elaine loves flowers, and Nesta is a firecracker.
Yeah.
So you just saying like Feyre only had the vision for her? I don't know.
It's possible. But then, you know, I started wondering, because when he explained it to her, did he put those visions in her head and they weren't hers?
When he found out that he was explaining like the mate thing?
Yeah, and like, did he put that in her, or was it always there? It had me questioning for a while.
He is the Dementi, is what they call it?
Yeah.
The mind thing.
So it's like, that makes me wonder about that. But I definitely feel like they were marked in some way, which always brings me back to the mom. And it makes me wonder, was mom part Fae? Was she a witch? I felt like, I just feel like she knew something and was preparing them for their lives.
The mom is a big one that people speculate on.
Yeah. And I mean, and I remember I brought this up in the very first book. I'm like, why is it that she had her baby be the one to promise her that she would take care of everybody? And I just felt like she had to have known that there was a strength in her, or something was going to happen. And then like the way she trained Nesta to be a queen, you know, like, why would she ever think that was possible for them? It's just wild. And then Dad, I wonder if he had more knowledge about that world than he lets on. The fact that he was trading in spices and gems, and it's like he had to have known about certain things.
And the fact that who knows what the conversation was when Lucian or whoever runs into him over on the continent, and then like they come with the ships or whatever, but it's like everyone else. One second.
It makes me wonder if he had ever come across an object that was magical or something.
It makes
that put them on their radar.
Like, I don't know, maybe he had that instinct where, you know, someone was like, your daughters are in danger, and he doesn't care what the circumstances are. He's going to go help them.
Yeah.
But like everyone else, all the other humans are so hesitant with the Fae.
So anti. I mean, even when Nesta and Elaine first heard it, they were like, ooh.
It makes me think he already knew.
Yeah.
He didn't put up a fight. He was like, all right, let's go.
He was ready to go into a fairy battle. Like, it just makes me feel like there's more to their story. And I hope it gets brought up in some fashion, because I know there's something more with this family. I've been seeing a lot online that the three sisters represent like these three witches.
I saw that, you sent me that.
That would be pretty cool. I love anything about witches. I got to tell you. I feel like in another life I was a witch. I might still be one.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that family. There's something.
There's something there. Do you have any theories about them?
No. I think the biggest one is the mom.
Yeah.
And what she was, or what her life was like, the knowledge she had.
Yeah, she either has some connection, I think, or she just knew enough about that world and wasn't anti it. Like she wanted a part of it, kind of like the way the queens wanted that immortality. I can see their mom being the same type of person who wanted to be part of that and have that power. All right, you want to move on to the Night Court?
Sure.
There's a lot there. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. And this is what I've been thinking since I read Silver Flames. Recent. I don't think he wants to be like High Lord anymore. I think he wants to just take Feyre, their baby, and disappear like, what was it, Miriam and Draken?
Draken, I think.
I think he wants to do what they did and be done with it. I think he's given up a lot. He's been through a lot, and I don't think he wants to do it anymore. And I think this because, well, one, how moody he was the whole book every time you saw him in Silver Flames. But two, he kept sending Cassian on these like diplomatic things. And even Cassian was like, that's not what I do. I'm not the one that speaks.
I was surprised by that.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not the one that does that. I'm the fighter. I'm the army guy. Like, why is he having me do this role?
Yeah.
And it seemed like Azriel was also pushing him towards that role as well. And I felt like they're preparing him for something. And so the first thing that came to my mind was he wants to give him the High Lord title and skadoosh. That's what I'm thinking. I also think that because Amren was so insistent on him thinking about the idea of being like the king of all the courts, you know, and he was so vehemently against that.
Yeah.
And she kept pushing it, which makes me wonder something about like what are her intentions of having him be king? Is there something more to it? Can I trust her? Or does she just value him so much she thinks he would be the right fit? Yeah. So he was so against that. So it does make me wonder if there is another king coming or queen. But I do feel like he wants to dip out. I really, really do.
And if anything, I think he wants to pull back on his responsibilities. Like you see that a lot, even in the real world. Like people bring others up and like divvy it out.
Yeah. Well, I think about like he spent how many years under the mountain? What was it, 40?
50?
50? He gave up so much and he continues to. So I think if he can get to a place where he feels like his people are good and he trusts Cassian implicitly, I think that's my theory. And then I saw someone online who also thought that, and I was like, I'm not alone. What do you think? What do you want to talk about?
I want to go to more.
Okay, I've
more is hard for me because there's a lot of like meaning behind her name that like has to cross over with like another character from another fantasy. So I'm gonna like keep that to the side. Okay. But she is the most suspicious Night Court inner circle person to me. And like I wrote down some other things about her, like theory wise from TikTok and whatnot, but it's ironic that like her gift is truth because it feels like we know more about Amren than we do about Mor sometimes. Yes. Which is ironic
because we don't know anything about Amren.
We don't know anything about Amren. But it's everything we know about Mor is very surface level. And then she gets really suspicious towards the end and like goes off.
You think she's going to be the one to betray?
That's what everyone says, and I don't know.
So a couple of things about that. When I first heard you say that, it gave me pause, and I was like, could be because we don't know enough about her. Then I saw someone post online that fans saying Mor is the one that's going to betray is like an anti-feminine thing to say, and they went on this rant about how like it's always the majority of these books are women. I mean, we have some great guys in here, right? But I feel like every story has been very female driven, very about female power, and a villain being a woman. Amarantha was a woman, you know?
So she has female villains in her other series.
Exactly. Yeah. So I saw that and I was like, give me a break. I'm sorry if that's how you feel, but if Mor is the villain, then it has nothing to do with being anti-feminine. These books are very pro-feminine, I think.
Yeah.
However, I did read that Saturday Mass once said that if Mor was in Hogwarts house, she would be a Gryffindor. Therefore, I have to conclude she would never be the one to betray. Would a Gryffindor betray their people?
The thing I agree with that 100%. And it feels like one of those things where you're reading a book and it's the obvious choice.
Yes.
It's the obvious
Yes.
choice. So clearly it's not going to be that way.
I think maybe there's things that she doesn't even know. Maybe she's not privy to the truth of herself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's what it is. I think there's a lot that she's hiding maybe about herself or her true feelings, but I really don't think it's anything to hurt her people. I just don't think that. I think if so, she's been playing the long game because she's been on their side for hundreds of years. She fought with the humans in the battle. It was like 500 years prior to that. So I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
But it would be the obvious choice, right?
So let's go on, because you have some other like people that you think might betray, or that people have made cases for them. And the one that I think is interesting is Elaine.
Yes.
Because like I like that choice because she is the most underwhelming, unassuming, but she's got like that seer ability.
Yes. And it makes me wonder if Asriel is following her not because he's attracted to her, but because he's sensing something about her. I mean, he is the man of shadows, right? What is he seeing around her? Is there a darkness around her? Is there something that he's like, it just off to him, and that's the connection, that's the grab? I don't know.
And it makes me link back to the case of her drawer being the flowers, and like maybe it's not just her personality but the spring court. So like, is the betrayal intertwined with that? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I think it could be one of two things. If she was the one to betray, I think it could be that, wow, what a great twist of the person that you wouldn't expect it. That would be fun. I'm not going to lie. I would be sad for the sisters, but I think as a reader, it would be really fun.
Oh, yeah.
But then I could also see it as her betraying them in a way where she didn't mean to.
Yeah.
But like perhaps someone comes to her and they say that they have a way to make her human again. I think she would jump on that. I really do. So who knows? Maybe she could be the one. I kind of want it to be Elaine at this point. I think it would be a really, really fun twist. The perfect cover. I would love it that Asriel kind of knew it all along, and everybody thinks that they're supposed to be mates, but really he's just watching her. Yeah. Because in the last book, he was on these missions too, but he was also he's always very quiet. But it felt like he was hiding something too, that he had some knowledge about something, and I can't quite put my finger on it. But I wonder if there's something brewing that he knows about already. Or maybe it's something brewing about more that he knows about already. I've got so many questions.
Yeah, I think Asriel knows a lot about more that we don't know.
Yeah.
Amren is like number 2 for me on betrayal.
Yeah.
Like Moore seems like the very obvious one. Everyone's speculating more. And then Amren would be a close 2. Because she is so mysterious. She's from this other great world. All this other, like, she's suspicious. You don't know a lot about her.
Yeah.
It kind of makes her easy number 2.
Yeah. But then I think maybe also another obvious number 2, because she's been because that's another thing. She's been with him for so long. But then I guess when you think about it, all they have is the long game.
Yeah, Amren's been around since like before.
If you're immortal, what's a few hundred years playing a game? Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, for me, I couldn't understand that, but I guess if you have that kind of span of life, playing that game on people for that long wouldn't be so bad. A fun one that I saw was Gwyn.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm like, Gwyn, like, no way. But then I was thinking, well, she was the surprising one in Silver Flames, how she took to the training, how she survived in the way that she did so easily. I wasn't expecting that. She kind of comes out of it like...
She's either natural or she knew something before.
Yes. Yeah, and so some people say that she might be Briallen's spy. Yeah. She might be the evil twin because her twin sister was killed. I don't know. That could be a fun arc, but man, that would be devastating to Nesta.
Yeah.
And her ability to trust people.
And it makes me wonder, the only thing with Gwen is like, would Sarah do that because she's not as invested and deep in that circle?
Yeah.
Like she's not there quite yet.
Yeah.
and we don't know where she's going, but like, would she pick her to be the one to betray them because it wouldn't be like as gut wrenching for everyone? I don't know
that's true.
What her level of pulling our hearts out is, but
well, I wonder if maybe if she went that way, the gut wrenching part might be somehow she pulls Nesta into believing something, or then having Nesta betray. I would hate that because I feel like Nesta's had enough moves in which everybody hates her, and I want that to be over with. Yeah.
So we have the Spring Court,
okay,
which the first one, the most popular one, I think, in regards to Tamlin, theory-wise, is that he is Amarantha's mate.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know you can not be with a mate.
Yeah, you can reject the mating bond.
Yes. And he's very suspicious under the mountain when they first go. Like, he doesn't say anything. It just made me think like he knew Amarantha better than he let on.
Yeah.
Like, he knew how to like react around her, to be around her.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's another one where it's like it's so widely talked about.
It's interesting though, because, and this is what a lot of people are talking about too, the first book is the only book in first person, and it's Feyre's point of view. And so Feyre is telling us how Tamlin was acting, which from her point of view was doing nothing.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that all the other books went into third person. And you're just kind of like, why did it shift? And how come we've never gotten a perspective from him? Because it has jumped around a few times.
Yes.
And so it does make me wonder if there is a redemption coming from him, or a bigger betrayal, or more of an understanding from him. Him being Amarantha's mate would make sense in terms of how he just kind of sat there and was playing another long game, I guess, thinking by being silent that would help.
And the fact that he was part of the deal, like, why did Amarantha pick him to, like, you have this amount of time?
Maybe he rejected the bond and she was pissed about that, and now, like, she's going to play with the next thing that he likes. So that would make sense. It would be more brutal, because why not go for Rhysand? He's the most powerful High Lord, and everyone knows what he's capable of. I mean, they said that he just like snapped his fingers and like was able to eviscerate people. Why not go? If you're power hungry, why not go for him?
This is what I'm not gonna lie. There are some theories out there that like, there's no way all these are gonna be like. This is one that I think like we can speculate on. For some reason, I don't feel like we'll ever actually find out. I don't know. I just feel like Tamlin, he's slowly just drifting
away.
But the point of view thing is interesting because, like I said, have read Crescent City, but I think that one's written in third person. Throne of Glass is all in third person. And so it's very interesting to me that this series differs with what, whether it is third person, but it's third person omniscient. We're only getting it through. Whereas, I don't know. There's something. Yeah. And who knows? Maybe she was just playing around with it. And Sarah's like, can you guys stop looking into my work? So.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of it is that. I'm sure a lot of it is just us being like, making up all these different ideas and finding things where there is nothing.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do and that's what's fun. But it would also make sense too because of the way he's fallen apart afterwards. Like, we all think it's because of Feyre, but realistically, they were not together that long for him to be falling completely apart like this. So maybe Amarantha's death has hurt him more than we realize. I don't know, but I know everybody hates Tamlin, and I'm not a big fan of him, but I kind of really hope that a redemption does come swinging through.
Yeah.
I hope he has some sort of role to play in which he does something for the right cause.
When it comes to the Spring Court theories, we can go to Lucian, but I want to go to your Elaine one because it links with Tamlin, the theory, and I've seen this with her drawer and the Spring Court, the theory that she is actually Tamlin's mate.
Yeah.
Is very interesting to me, and I wonder if that will be where you see that redemption story with Tamlin.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But then I saw that theory, and that's what I wrote down, that she might be Tamlin's mate. But can you be two people's mates? Because Lucian was pretty clear that she's my mate.
That whole scene to me is so suspicious. Then there's a theory down here that
he was lying.
Yes. I don't know, because here's my thing. Why everyone else has kept it to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That we've seen.
Yeah. They wait for the right moment.
They wait for the right moment. They play the long game. Like, does Lucian just not understand social interactions? Like,
yeah.
Why in this moment of like the sisters just like gut wrenching,
yeah.
like almost everyone's like dying around him. We've got Cassian like laying on the ground, and he chooses that moment. Mm-hmm. Was he just so overwhelmed by it? I don't know.
I mean, it's possible he could have been overwhelmed by it, not knowing if they were going to be made, and then the King of Hybern was going to immediately kill them.
Yeah.
And being like, oh, I just found her, and now you're going to kill her. It's possible, but I do wonder what the purpose of him lying would be. Like, what was...
So there's a theory down here why he lied about it.
Okay.
So I can get to that, but... So that's why I'm just like, if Elaine is Tamlin's mate, mm-hmm. it fits in my head, because... And not like I'm saying I want her to be.
Yeah.
But because the Lucian Elaine mate thing
doesn't...
I've never like fully accepted it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't... Something weird about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right.
So then it goes to Lucian.
Yes. And these are the theories I love about Lucian, because we all hate that mate part, right? But there's something about Lucian that I am really rooting for something good to happen.
Yeah, book 1 Lucian, I loved him.
Really love him.
After he says he's Elaine's mate, I don't care for you anymore.
I know, but I keep like hoping that something will happen for him. He'll just like totally get over Elaine and move on. But I wrote him as like the misfit of the court, mm-hmm. because he's like been a part of almost every one of them. And he kind of like belongs nowhere, and he's kind of formed this island of misfit toys with Vasa and Jurian, and it's got me wondering if he's meant for either forming a new court or the title that Rhys-Anne doesn't want, which is king mm-hmm. of all the courts. And I think it would make sense if he was, because he seems to have that ability to like go in and out of all the courts. Yeah. He knows the customs, he knows the rules of everybody, and he seems to always find a way to like get along, assimilate, even though he doesn't feel like he belongs to any of them. Maybe he truly belongs to all of them.
I could see that. I would need him to have an extreme change in like his authority. Because for some reason when I picture them, and maybe it's just because towards the end when he's in the night court, like he's over in the corner like the mouse.
Yeah.
You know, and like I need him, if you are going to be the high mm-hmm. king or whatever, like you've gotta step it up. But I also think it links back to you discussing his dad, the fact that he doesn't necessarily belong to one court, because his dad is most likely Hellion.
Hellion.
I don't know.
That's how I'm pronouncing it, Hellion. So, but yeah, we discovered that in Silver Flames.
Yeah, someone realizes like, wait a second.
Yeah.
You don't look like...
Oh, no, it wasn't.
It was earlier than that.
Maybe it was ACOTAR.
It could have been.
I don't remember. But yeah, they figured out that his dad can't be Baron, and that his mom actually loved Hellion.
Is it during the High Lord meeting?
I think so. I think they noticed the way that she looks at him, and like
and then they're able
to put
it
all
see,
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was kind of looking at Lucian more, and she was realizing, oh, like she was seeing their resemblance, but nobody really spoke it out loud. Yeah. So it would make sense, because I don't know where his mom is from. I don't think she was from Autumn Court.
I don't remember
initially, but it would make sense now that like that misfit nature, and maybe that's why Eris mm-hmm. has never really done his best to get rid of Lucian, because I think he knows that Lucian really doesn't belong there.
Yeah.
So let's move to the Autumn Court.
Yeah. Their dad, well, supposed dad.
The only thing I have to say about him that I wrote down is he the next big bad? Is he like the next big bad guy to come up? Because it feels like he's brewing. He always is on the side of the bad.
For some reason, because of all the other High Lords, and I don't know how old they are, he just seems outdated to me.
Yes.
It's just like you seem like the oldest, like shoo now.
Yeah, let your son take over.
And like Moore, and I know Moore's dad just does like the Court of Nightmares or whatever, but like those two are like, okay, it's past your prime, like go sit down.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if he feels that as well, and that's why maybe something bad will be brewing with him. Like he's got some big bad plans.
Don't know.
So let's move on to Eris.
Eris is hard for me because I don't know if I have him down on the theories. Eris, I don't think is, and this might not, a lot of people might not agree with this. I don't think Eris is as bad as he is portrayed to be.
I think Eris is our Snape.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I think he is playing the bad guy to protect someone or something.
I mean, we saw Reese do it.
Yep. I think he is the Snape. I think in the end, we will find out that he has been holding a lot more or doing a lot more than they realize.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's so much more to his story.
It just doesn't help also that he has that suspicious, like, Moore story.
Yeah. And then he's like, you have to ask Moore for that. People wonder if he is Moore's, like, actually Moore's mate.
Yeah.
And that's why he protected her in a way that, would let her be free, protecting her from afar. I don't know. I don't know if he's Moore's mate. I saw some people say that he's Nesta's true mate.
That's a TikTok theory.
I don't believe that. I don't want to believe that. But I think, because Cassian was saying when he saw them dance that they looked like a king and a queen and they were like a perfect match. I honestly think that was just Cassian's insecurity talking about how like he's always the brute.
But it's interesting to me because Baron's power that we see Feyre use is like fire.
Yeah.
And you think back to Nesta's drawer.
Uh-huh. Yes, but she also has that silver flame power.
She does. So I don't know. That's why I'm saying, like, with the drawers, is there a common theme? Does it match to who you're mated with? Is it just personality? I don't get it. But that's when it comes to TikTok theories. Moore, I think, has not necessarily the most, but
there's a lot about Moore.
So we kind of touched on this, the fact that her gift is truth, her power, whatever, but that she can also hide it. And like you said, that's why Azriel is always kind of, because he can sense that. And they backed this by when Eris, like you said, to ask Moore what happened when they were engaged. With her and Eris, there's also the theory that they are mates, and he left her in the woods because he knew that she didn't want him because she's more interested in women. I don't know how I feel about that one. That seems like a very extreme situation to handle. I don't know. And then the other one was that, and I think that she was pregnant with Cassian's child, and the fact that the note was nailed to her womb.
And it's written like that on her womb.
Yeah.
Not her stomach. They say her womb. And so it makes me feel like they were mad about something to deal with her womanly.
And it kind of is interesting because she and Cassian, they don't have a bad relationship. No. But like, it just like, Feyre's always like, what's going on with you guys? Like, why don't you guys just like
be together?
Yeah, there's always something weird there.
Yeah, it's very strange to me that when Moore told her that she prefers women, that's fine and everything, but I just felt like it was almost kind of mean what she's doing with Cassian and Azriel.
Yeah.
Because the way she would speak to them in a very flirty nature, it seemed like it was fun for her. I don't know if that was just an act, but then it just feels mean. Like she's been leading Azriel on for centuries.
Oh yeah.
And it just I don't understand that. So it makes me feel like either she's bad for that, or a part of her does care for them, but maybe, I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on but that bothers me a little bit, the way she treats the two of them. And the fact that when Nesta came in the picture, she seemed jealous of Nesta.
Yeah.
And the way Cassian suddenly like only had eyes for her. Yeah. And so if you didn't care, if it was just a friendship thing, why would you be jealous?
Exactly. So TikTok theory about Lucian is that this, what I was alluding to earlier, he and Elaine aren't mates, and that he only said that to have an excuse to be part of the Night Court, possibly to bring it down from the inside, like Feyre did to the Spring Court.
Okay.
So then it connects to maybe he's not the inner circle, but is he the one that
he's the one that will betray?
Yeah.
That would be heartbreaking because he was like her first tether, her first friend.
But it would be too mimicky. Yeah. I don't think Sarah would mimic Feyre did it to the Spring Court. Lucian's gonna do it. I think that's not as creative, but there's still something weird about him declaring that they were mates. The second like Elaine's out of that, like this is a stretch. It gives me Twilight vibes when their daughter is born and he imprints.
Yeah, like as soon as she's born, you're like,
this is not the time.
No,
that's what
it's funny you bring that up because I've been thinking about that. Mainly because I just read Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and there's a lot of like mate stuff in there, and I was like, having a mate is super popular right now. Yeah. And then even in Fourth Wing, you know how like they're connected, and so like the dragons are connected, but then like they're connected and they can. I saw this funny TikTok where it was like a woman, and she was like just feeling really pissed off that my husband can't speak to me in my mind, and it's like that's like a thing right now. It's the whole mate thing. But the first time I think it was the most popular was in that with the imprinting.
And it was so like, ooh.
It was very cringy.
I don't know.
I don't see that for him.
I don't think, and like I said, I don't think he does it. I want to say that I want to believe the first part that he and Elaine aren't mates.
Yeah.
But like he said that because blank. Like, that's the part I don't have.
The only thing I could think of is that if that was the case, he was doing that to throw off the momentum of whatever was happening in that moment. Maybe he was realizing, I mean, he had to have realized once they brought out the sisters, like this wasn't part of our plan. This wasn't our agreement. We were just getting Feyre here, you know, to save her. And I think that could be his way of trying to save the situation and like tame it down. Maybe get Tamlin to be like, stop.
It also makes me wonder if this was his excuse to possibly have that connection to the Night Court because he saw how badly Tamlin just he like could see ahead like the Spring Court's not going to do well long term. Like
I gotta get out and I have no place to go.
It was just not the right time, Lucian.
Yeah, I don't feel Lucian is going to be the bad guy. I really don't. I just hope something good happens for him.
So Nesta, this is the one where they say she and Eris are actually mates, which people really fixate on the fact that Cassian never says I love you.
I got opinions about this.
And that the flames on the dresser actually represent Eris. It's also supported by his quick proposal after dancing with Nesta. That's what the TikTok world says.
Okay. So what are your thoughts? And then I'll tell you my thoughts.
So I don't think she and Eris are mates. Is it suspicious that Cassian, which is so interesting because the whole book, Cassian's the one pushing her, like, why don't you accept it? Why don't you accept it? And then she says it, and Cassian's like, okay, fun. And the book ends, and you're like, what? So there's something weird there. Do I think they're linked and that she and Eris are mates, and that's like linking to the Cassian never saying I love you? No. I don't think she and Eris are mates. But I don't know.
So I think the Cassian never saying I love you, I don't think that's a big deal. Because I think throughout the book, and in even the books before, he's done so much to prove that he loves her.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that in Akabor, when he says that I'll find you in another, I mean, you're not saying that to your friends.
Yeah.
You know, you're saying that to the person you love.
Yeah.
And I think with Nesta, if he had ever said, I love you, I think she would have rejected it. I think she would have pushed him away. I think it would have scared her. I think he said things to her in the way she needed to hear it and the way she wanted to hear it, because Nesta is a special kind of case. And I think him hearing her say that was what he needed, but not what she needed, because I think she knows that he loves her. She's just not the type to be so excited about that. So I don't think that there's anything nefarious about him not saying it. I'm not gonna lie, part of me believes that because I don't want to believe there's anything nefarious in that, but I really don't. And I think the flames, that's really her and her power that she's always had. And I think we will see more from her power-wise, because I don't think it's done. I think there's a lot more coming from her. As far as like the Eris being quick to propose, I think Nesta was just a really damn good dancer. And I think she would have felt something too, but instead she was more like, see, I got it still. You know, there was no like, oh, wait a minute. It was just like, yeah, I still got it.
Like, okay.
And she was happy with herself. And I think she was more focused on the way it was making Cassian feel than Eris. So why he proposed so quickly, I think she was just really good at it. And he was like, well, I think he wants an alliance with the Night Court too. And I think he wants that solidified to know that I do have their backing. They can trust me and I can trust them. I think that's what that was about.
So there are two that I came across with Rhys. And I mean, there are so many theories that are out there. And I was just trying to write down the ones that I thought like were interesting discussion-wise. First one is actually very popular.
Really?
Because he's a Dementi, that he's actually evil and he's manipulated the Inner Court's minds. And that he's going to be the betrayal.
That would be so wild. I think if that happened, I might well, all the books I read are on my Kindle. I won't throw my Kindle, but I'll have to buy the book just to physically throw it. I would be so mad if that happened.
That'd be so wild.
I would be so mad if that happened. Have you ever seen the Silver Linings Playbook with Bradley Cooper?
No.
But do you know what I'm gonna talk about?
Yeah.
That scene where I forget what book it was. This is horrible that I don't remember what book, but there's a scene. I read the book, The Silver Linings Playbook, but I also saw the movie. And somebody keeps talking to him about like this book. I think it was his ex, and how much she loved the book. It was just like devastatingly beautiful or whatever. And he gets to the end, and in the end, like one of the main characters die or whatever. And he literally in the movie, he's like, what the fuck? And he throws the book, he like trashes the room, he goes on a whole rampage. And I was like, that's how I would feel if this was true.
Yeah.
I would rampage.
I don't know.
I mean, would it be fun? Yeah, I guess.
I mean, she hasn't killed anyone significant, so like the betrayal's got to come from someone significant.
I know, but I don't know. See, that also seems like a lazy move to me. It's almost like it was all a dream to say that like he was in everybody's mind, you know, running the story the whole time. That almost feels a little lazy to me, and I don't think she's lazy. I think she's creative. No, I don't think he's evil. It's a fun theory. And it's funny, I haven't come across that. I guess that's not my algorithm, you know? I haven't come across that one.
Another one that's tame with Rhys is that he and Az are cousins.
I can see that.
And that Rhys's mom took Az in because he's her nephew. I mean, they don't really... And that comes back also. I didn't write this down. There's a lot of speculation about Rhys-Ann because we don't know his surname, which is very interesting because there's very selective characters in ACOTAR that we do know their surname. Now, this has nothing to do with Throne of Glass, but in Throne of Glass, you're like very familiar with everyone's full name.
Really?
Like very familiar. So it's interesting to me that in ACOTAR, you know, Archeron we know, Lucian we know because of his family, but like there are a couple points where it's hinted at that we don't know Rhys's surname. Well, but then we don't know Azriel's either.
Yeah.
I don't think we know Cassian's.
No, I don't feel like any of the characters, they really said their names. It's all like of the Night Court or of this, or maybe that's just not how they do it in this world. Or she is preparing us for maybe a lot more books where things will start to unravel. I don't know, but I could see that being true. That would be pretty cool. It would explain why the mom took a shine to him, took him in and took care of him. It would also explain why he has the powers that he has, and no one can quite understand who the F he is.
And he and Reese's features seem to be more similar.
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't always look like your cousins, and their eyes are different colors and whatnot, but they have that really, really dark like hair, stuff like that. I don't know. Going back to Mama Archeron, so the one we touched on, she's actually a witch or connected to the Fey world in some way. And TikTok says this explains why Feyre has an old Fey name. Apparently that's an old Fey name. I don't know. Also explains why Elaine and Nesta, I liked this piece of evidence, why they easily turned Fae in the cauldron, whereas the mortal queens struggled.
Yeah.
It's almost like they had part of it in their blood, so it was easier for them than the mortal queens. And I didn't think about it like that. I've never connected their mom and what her background might be to why. Obviously it was traumatic and they like whatever, but like the mortal queens came out with all these issues.
Well, didn't one like immediately die?
Yeah.
So yeah, what is it about these girls that made them special in a way to get through?
So going back to the cauldron and whatnot, Elaine's is interesting. And the theory is that she was pregnant when she went into the cauldron and lost the baby. The cauldron gave her a gift because it took something from her, whereas Nesta takes from the cauldron. It also, to me, would explain why she mopes around, why she still feels so connected to, I can't remember his stupid name.
Yeah.
Her fiance that's human.
Like, I can't think of it either.
Why she's so obsessed with him still, why they're like, just take your iron ring off, like get over it.
Yeah, it would totally make sense if she lost a baby that she would just go mute and not speak for a while.
Yeah, so that I thought that was an interesting one I hadn't thought of, and the way the cauldron gave her something, but Nesta took from it. I was like,
Yeah, that would make sense. This was an interesting one that you wrote down about Az.
Yeah, so going back to Az a little bit, he and Reese's sister were mates, and I literally typed word for word what is written, because this is supported when he says to Cassian in Silver Flames, you'd know if she died, Asriel said. This is when they're in the blood rite, or whatever it's called. Asriel said, pausing his work and looking up at Cassian, he tapped his brother's chest with a scarred hand, which, why are we always talking about Asriel's scarred hands? Leave that man alone. Right here, you'd know, Cass.
Yeah.
And Asriel's a man of very few words.
Yeah.
So for Sarah to decide that this is what he's going to say and this is how he's going to say it is very interesting to me.
So you think it implies that he knows that feeling intimately, that he's lost a mate. Yeah. He knows what it feels like. That could be. When I read it, I just assumed that like that's the common knowledge. Like you are aware when that bond is broken, you know?
Yeah.
But that would make sense too. It would also make sense why he's always so quiet. He's always in the background.
But then that would also debunk the Asriel and Rhysand being cousins theory, which all these theories don't have to exist in harmony, but
well, I mean, in some worlds, you know, that works for some people. I don't know.
But it's interesting because everyone wants, like, the next book is, I think we know, is focused on Asriel. So I'm like, if he already had a mate
about him,
what, I don't know, there's something weird there.
Yeah.
I love that the bone carver had a theory. Which I didn't actually process this because I don't pay attention to small details when I read or reread books, apparently.
Yeah.
It says the bone carver, he doesn't actually appear to Feyre as her future son because Nyx is born with wings. And she also sees him with blue eyes occasionally. So who is she seeing? Now, I didn't write down the actual quotes, but someone went back and looked at the multiple times Feyre talks to him and how she describes him. And there is a shift in the eye color she sees.
I think I read somewhere.
Like, did Sarah just mess up?
No, I don't think she messed up. Possible. But I read somewhere that he shows you what you think is your future. So, like, what she would imagine her future son would look like.
Yeah.
And so someone made the case of, like, she would never imagine her kid with wings.
Yeah.
Because that's not, like, it's just not what she would imagine.
Yeah.
But then also someone made the case too that Rhysand is able to get rid of his rings or hide them.
Yeah.
And so perhaps Nick, are we pronouncing this Nyx?
I don't know how I say it.
That he also has that ability. Because, I mean, think about how powerful both of his parents are.
Which would be so frustrating after what Feyre just went through.
I know.
If your kid gets to a certain age and then all of a sudden he's
really?
like, oh,
I
look at this new trick.
Things.
Yeah. I would be like, no, you're never doing that again. You have to live with those 24/7.
I almost died for those.
I'd be so mad.
If Elaine is not the ultimate betrayer, let's hope she never meets a guy with wings, because no one thought of her. No one thought about her.
Well, that's the other thing. People, when it comes to the Elaine being with Azriel theory, because everyone's got so many theories about Azriel's mate. If it is the case, it makes me wonder, Nesta.
Yeah.
Just knock it all out. Just all three of you. You don't know. Yeah. I don't know if they divorce in the Fae world, but what if she wants? I don't know. And then there was the one about the courts overall. I think it's interesting. They say there's an 8th court called the Dusk Court that has been in ruins under a spell. And I don't know about this part, but this is what continued on. Nesta will be the one to free the court and rule over it. And they said this makes sense since she is compared to a queen quite often.
Yeah, she is. A lot of the times when they describe her, they say she's very like queen-like or regal or like made to be a queen, which makes me think of High Lady.
Yeah.
Because I think Feyre and Rhysand are going to dip. Yeah. And Cassian might take that role. I don't know.
Because you have day, you have dawn, you have night.
Autumn, spring.
Why don't you have dusk? You have the fact that you have day. You have day and night.
Yeah.
But then you have dawn.
Yeah, not that in between.
Where's dusk? Where's the opposite?
And then I wonder, will those items come into play again? The harp, the mask. I forget what else there was. But like, are we just done with those items, or will they play a role again? They seem so important and so powerful to have them just, okay, we're done with those. We saved them and we blocked them away.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder if that'll come back up. I don't know. I wonder, though, what prompted people thinking that there would be another court. I mean, it makes sense that there would be a dusk, right? In terms of if you look at the names, but like what, like if something was said that made them think, oh, maybe that land, or maybe there's this place where no one
There
goes.
Wasn't any like evidence from the text that supported it.
Yeah, it's just a fun idea.
I think it's just a fun idea.
God dang. I just really wish there'd be some news on when this book is coming. I mean, in the meantime, it is fun. It is so fun to speculate and think about all these different ideas and theories. I just wonder when the next book comes out, will we get any of these?
That's my concern too.
Like, are we going to be talking about it so much that when we get it, will any of it disappoint us?
That's what I worry about, and I wonder if she feels that pressure.
There must be pressure. Yes. Yeah. Like, I wonder, like, if some of these theories have gotten to her, and she's like, maybe I should add one.
Yeah.
Like, throw them a bone, you know? Or I wonder if it's kind of like a Taylor Swift thing where she's always got these like little Easter eggs and she's putting things out there to see if her fans can pick up on it. I don't know. I think it's really fun. If it gets people talking about books at the end of the day, like that's wonderful. But I think it's kind of cool if she did play with her fans the way Taylor does, because it almost feels interactive. And I think it just makes it more exciting and you to look forward to. All I can think about is, God, I hope this book comes out during a period of time where I don't have to be at work.
Yeah, it would be ideal.
I would be devastated.
Yeah, ideal if this came out just for the whole world, like where we, for some reason, are just living.
You're like Christmas break, spring break, summertime. Like, can we just put it out around a time where teachers are out or where people generally have vacation time? Because the idea of like that book sitting in my house, not being read, I don't know what I would do.
I'm gonna have a hard time. I'm gonna have to order from Blackwell's or something because I hate hardcovers.
I'm at that point now where, and I've seen so many fun TikToks and videos of like you have the digital version, but you also want to buy the physical copy. I was in the store the other day and I saw the physical copies of the book and I was like, I really want them.
Yeah.
I have them here, but I want them now.
Yeah.
So
my husband gets mad because I spend the money on the books, but because he like wants to buy me a Kindle so bad.
Yeah.
I hold it like this is a Kindle. He wants to buy me one so bad, or like have me read online, but I hate it.
Yeah.
When I was in college, like I had to print everything.
Really?
Yes.
I don't mind it so much. What I love about it, one, is how fast I can get the book. Two, I did ACOTAR on my iPad because I was traveling to Mexico and I didn't know how much I would get into it if I was able to read 1 or 2 books. Yeah. I had a feeling I might get to the second book, and I did.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to carry these 2 big books with me. And so I was like, it'll be just easier. And then if I do finish, I can just get the next book. And so that was my
definitely takes up space and weight in my suitcases. Yeah. But I will say, shout out Blackwell's for always having the paperbacks that I need.
Although I do have a problem.
Uh-oh. Oh, yeah.
I did get my Iron Flame and Onyx Storm. I was very happy to receive it in paperback. However, why is Iron Flame so much smaller than Fourth Wing and Onyx Storm?
When it comes out in the US, I'll be curious to see if it's the smaller version still.
I am devastated. Because the way I have to put them together, I have to have the third book on the top. Because it doesn't look right to have, the second book, I have to have it on the top. It doesn't look right in the middle where it belongs. I mean, these are things that keep me up at night. It bothers me that they're not in order.
Yeah.
I have to put them in size order. Why do we do that? You know, a long time ago, they did that with the Harry Potter DVDs. I don't know. You didn't get into Harry Potter.
I have the full set as one.
Well, so I started buying them as they came out, and the first 2 movies were like in this special like DVD case that was like this, like it opened up in such a way, and then the third movie came out. It was like your standard DVD case. It was completely different from the first one, and it just yucked my yum.
Yeah, I will say it is very like trendy now for people, even after a whole series has been published. Like for example, the Hunger Games, they've just come out with the whole set as a special edition, so they all match. Yeah. But I'm like, I don't want to buy it twice.
No, neither do I. But I'm not gonna lie, I do have 2 copies of Harry Potter. So I have the Harry Potter hardcovers because that's what my mom bought me, and then I started buying the illustrated version ones for Dean. And that's fun. But I'm not gonna lie, they have other versions of it that I kind of really want.
Yeah.
But then also my Fourth Wing book, the first one, it's got dragons.
I have that copy
on the sides of the pages.
Yeah.
But the other ones don't.
It was interesting to me that they did that with Fourth Wing, but
why?
I don't know.
But why did they do that? I think it's just money. They just want our money. They know that we're gonna get different copies of things. It's like when artists put out the same album with just 3 more songs.
Yeah.
Why?
No reason.
I've got questions. Well, anyway, I hope this was fun.
I had a good time.
I hope this was fun for people. I had a good time too. I have a feeling that there will be a part 2 of this episode.
Yeah, especially after we get the next book.
Yeah, or maybe even before that. I can see more theories starting to arise. The more like people are just like simmering with all of these books, and you think about it more in anticipation of the new book.
And also the cross series theories.
Perhaps I'll probably get to the Throne of Glass before the new book comes out. And so we might have to revisit how some of them might entwine with each other.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. But right now I'm on book 2 of, how do we even say it? Empyrean
is how I say it.
Yeah, the Empyrean series. I'm on book 2. I think I'm going to go straight to book 3 after book 2. I don't know.
I just haven't gone to book 3 because mine's currently crossing the Atlantic.
Yeah. I think as soon as I finish, I want to go directly to book 3.
Yeah.
So I will be talking about those books shortly. I have no idea what comes next. Is it The Quiet Tenant? Tenants?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, well we'll do that next, maybe.
Yeah.
We have to figure some schedule things out.
While we wait for my Onyx Storm to cross.
Yeah. I hope it takes a little while so we can be on the same page. Oh, and an update. I finished the book, The Things We Never Got Over, that romance book. Mm-hmm. It was actually very cute. I gave it 4 stars. I felt a little attacked, I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
It was refreshing to read a book about a woman in her like late 30s. I felt like I could relate. I related a little too much to her, which was why I felt attacked. And I was like, did you know that was going to hurt my feelings? But I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, and I would definitely read the second one. I'm just overwhelmed with the books on my to be read shelf at the moment because I really want to get to Throne of Glass. I really, really, really am itching to it. And then there's a lot of other mystery books that I want to get to as well. My to be read list is, I think you've seen it. I think it's like 200 books on there.
Yeah, I had to go through mine and actually delete some off of it and get a little more realistic and like narrow down.
I should do that too.
But then I went to Target yesterday and their Circle Week or whatever they're calling it. I don't know if it was just yesterday or what. You can check it out. But the books were buy 2, get 1 free.
Really?
And I was like, okay. So now my thing is like I have a digital, like I keep my Goodreads want to read list, but then there's like 5 books on my shelf where I'm like,
same. Well, that's why I just bought Iron Flame, Onyx Storm, but I haven't read, and this is an older book, The Paris Apartment.
Oh yeah.
And then I forget what the name of it is. All the Good Girls or something like that. And I think that's what it's called. I don't remember. But it's a fictional telling that has to do with Ted Bundy, serial killer. And so I really, really want to read that.
Yeah.
Have that sitting in my house.
I went to pick up a new book today and I was looking at my shelf and I had one that my mother-in-law gave me to borrow and I see her this weekend. So I was like, that one's next. Gotta get through that real quick.
Yeah.
So that one's a Frida McFadden. So it's going to go fast, which I was like, thank God.
Yeah. Those are short chapter books. So as you can see, we've got a lot coming up because there's a lot we want to read and get to.
Yeah.
But
the Quiet Tenant.
Yeah, that'll be next. Please reach out, comment, share, let us know your thoughts, let us know your theories. We really want the theories and opinions and all the things, all the book things. Reach out. Find us on TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah, the most popular thing people have reached out about that had the most debate was where you'd sit on a plane.
Yes.
With all those fantasy characters.
Yeah. We should do more things like that.
That was so funny to me, but
yeah.
But yeah, and I did have someone on TikTok recommend The Push. After I posted the Verity teaser or whatever, which I've heard a lot of things about. So that will eventually down the road.
I'm thinking when I start Throne of Glass of making like a short little video of like I just started. Like I think I'm gonna like edit my reactions as I go through the book. I have a feeling that I'm going to have crazy reactions.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm not gonna lie, it was really cringy, and this isn't on like our TikTok, it was on my personal one. But I was getting to the end of Silver Flames, and so I literally, and it felt weird, but I literally set up my phone and recorded as I finished it, and it was so funny to watch.
Why did you gotta post that?
Well,
now you put it out there. You have to post it. I wish that I had a camera on me when I was reading Aquabor. Yeah, because I was in bed. Through all of the emotions, crying. My boyfriend got very angry with me. And I really thought that I was like hyperventilating. I was very upset. I wish somebody had a camera on me when I did this. So just thinking about my reaction to that, I was like, I'm going to start like filming reactions to like start and how, I'm going to, who knows? Somebody might get a kick out of it.
We'll see.
Yes, we'll see. Okay, well, I feel like that's a good place to wrap up. Until next time, people, keep reading.